Alright guys, I'm going to try to condense a lot of these videos just so this project doesn't get drawn out. I got the carbs clean, got the carbs back on. I am currently trying to set timing somewhat. Well, remember, one of the issues was no spark. And we finally have, well, it's a pretty sickly fire, but it is really cold out here, so we got the fire going. So I have never timed one of these. So I have referenced and printed out online kind of a how-to. So I'm not going to really give a lesson because I've never done it. I know that for starters, you're to turn this until the points inside, it probably is not going to show. There's one of them. So I'm going to turn this until the points open up to their widest point. And those are supposed to be gapped at 0.014. I've already tested mine. They're way too wide. So I'm going to start by off camera adjusting the points on this side and points on this side. You're supposed to be able to do it through here without having to remove that. Mine's not bolted on, so I could remove it if I had to. But this does have to be on place to get that gap. And then I guess that is part one, and then part two is actually setting the timing. So we're gonna go from there and see how far we get. All right, guys, on this side, the gap was way too large between the 2 points, and on this side, there was 0 gap. So you set one, then you rotate this, and then you set the other one. Stands to reason because they don't fire at the same time. One fires for piston number 1, then the other fires for piston number 2. So I've got the gaps. So I'm going to move on to hopefully setting the timing. I don't know. I got to read up on that a little bit. So another cool little thing I thought I'd point out is disc brakes. You actually have brake fluid in here. I took this panel off. That brake fluid in there is pretty dirty. And so I'm gonna dump it out, clean it, and then you would bleed your brake down to the, let's see if I can get it here. I have really bad lighting here. Right there, and you just bleed it. Pull the handle, and then tighten that, bleed it just how you would normal brakes. So I think I have brake fluid, so I hope to get to that as well and get my brakes all hooked up. So turns out you really cannot time it without having a dial indicator and the whole light system, because putting something in the top and trying to find the top dead center, you're not actually trying to find top dead center. You're trying to find something like 0.018 or some number off top dead center. And you can only do that with a dial indicator. So unfortunately what I did is, because before I took my stator off, I had marked the stator to get me in the ballpark. So I just set it to the markings that I had. There again, it's not the reason this is not getting spark. Is the timing. It will cause other problems, but I should still be able to get a spark. Now the fact that the points were not functioning, they weren't open and closing, that could do it. So I might have fixed something by cleaning the points and adjusting them, but I don't have the dial indicator, so we're just going to kind of wing it. I'm putting the pull start back on, and over there I got the wire harness, so we'll start getting all the wire harness, bleed the brake, and just try to do general stuff to get this thing. Just really all I want to do is turn it over and see if I get a spark. That's pretty much all I care about at this point. Quick update, guys, no spark. I've tested with a tester. I've tested just with the spark plug. Ignition's on, wiring's hooked up. no spark. So I think we're gonna try first changing the external coils and see if that gives us spark. Guys, little update. I went to bleed the brake, and this is the brake fluid reservoir, and I was not getting anything down the cable, so I undid the cable which attaches here, and I could freely blow air through the cable. So that left one component left, which is the cylinder. This is where the handlebar goes, and this is where the brake cylinder goes. That goes down in the end of it. Then you got, this is your cylinder, and this is the part that the handle, when you squeeze it, pushes that into there. So I had to drill this out, the brake lever. So I just have to get like a nut and screw for that. I got the springs in there. There's two springs, a smaller one inside the large one. That's just vinegar and water. But this was absolutely just caked full of crap. How it gets in there, I don't know. But literally with this sled, it is one thing after the other. And then right here is where the headlights, where you turn them on, and there's 3 wires that go into the headlights and tail light. One of those was not even attached, so I'm gonna have to resolder that. I still have yet to get spark. I did replace the 2 external coils. I just haven't put it back together and tested it. So it's just one thing after the next. So guys, it is a chilly morning, Idaho morning, and so building a fire, and kind of embarrassing, but I'll tell you what the deal was with no spark on this thing. So after replacing, you can see I got 2 new coils in there. After replacing those and testing all the internal workings, everything, I kept checking them with an ohm meter over and over. I pulled them out I don't know how many times. I have tried to do, I sanded the points and I tested the condensers. Well, I got resistance. I don't actually even know what they test to. But I do want to order some points and new condensers, just replace them anyway, but I can't even find them online. So I'm going to have to look into, can I find them for these old sleds? But moving on, history on these 2 sleds. I got this one, I got that one from the same guy. He said, you just pour a little WD-40 down, they'll start right up. Not that I thought that that would actually happen, but out of desperation, last night I posted on a Facebook Polaris vintage website. So I cannot take credit for, I just want to give credit where credit is due. I had a lot of really interesting and useful information, all good information, but what it ended up being is this, one on this sled, one on that sled. Both broken, both not working, but I could not figure out even what they were for. I knew this was for lights, and what they are is kill switches. I was not getting any spark because the kill switches. What I did, the recommendation of somebody, they said just undo your wiring harness and see if you have spark. I undid the wiring harness, boom, I had spark. It could be other things. It could be a ground, it could be several different things. But being that these are not functioning, if your kill switch is on, you won't get a spark. So I've already found some replacement ones online. They're a little bit different. They have like a little thumb thing that they switch sideways instead of these go, I believe, in and out, which they don't even work. I mean, they're toast. So I do have spark on this. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the fuel, hook up what I can. I'm still waiting on the choke lever, but I think I should be able to start it without choking it, I hope. And I bought some cans of starter fluid, and I just want to see if I can get these to turn over. That would just be awesome, huge improvement. So, and I guess the reason I didn't even think about, I don't know anything about vintage sleds. So I didn't even know if vintage sleds had such thing as kill switch. I couldn't find any information online about it. But the coils I'm used to, there's a third little tab that a kill switch hooks up to. Not on these, I granted, but I've never worked on these. So when in doubt, not getting a spark, yes, it could be numerous things, points, condenser, bad coils, whatever. It could be, some guys said that they ran into this problem with something as simple as a ground wire. One guy said that his kill switch worked, but it wasn't grounded. Now I don't see a ground on this one, but I do know I have an individual ground wire that is mounted down there. So, like I said, I know I used this, so I know I'm getting spark. Granted, it's not as strong of a spark as I'd like to see, but we're gonna see if it's enough to get this thing just to turn over. So 3 trips to town, and I think I finally have everything just to try to start this thing over, or turn it over. I had to run after bolts, washers, you name it. Somewhere I have already 2-stroke oil. Can't find it. So ran after some of that. Got the muffler on, just in case it were to start. Probably jinxing myself there. I think I've got everything. I pulled this kill switch off. It just definitely did not work. And then my light switch has a broken wire. I did buy a soldering iron this morning, but just to try this, I'm not too concerned with that. Basically, just gonna try to turn this thing over. That's all I want, is to turn it over. Kind of give me a little bit of motivation to continue. I've got to get it done. Then I got to figure out how to get it out of my shop, because I've got that parked in front of my door and it doesn't run. I can pull it forward, maybe. Don't know. But I kind of wanted to do a full-on resto on that, but I really don't. It sounds good, but it sounds good for like the first 15 minutes. So, all right, I'm going to look up a fuel ratio, see what that should be mixed at, and wish me luck. We're going to give this a try. All right, guys, I pre-put a gallon of gas in the tank, and I try to bleed it down to the pump. Not very successful on that. Just going to give it some squirts. I know I can do that to the carbs, and I'm going to be doing that too. Alright. Trying to be quick. Let's try it. Try something here. All right, nothing. Little update, I tried to repair 2 different ones of these. They always seem to break in the same place, the choke lever cable part. This one is actually off my Polaris Colt. Another one I grabbed off an old Arctic Cat. Both of them broken. So I ordered a set, and the set just came with the lever, a little pin, new spring, and then there's the part that always seems to break. So I'm gonna put a new one together and I'll have that part done. I ordered some parts for my stator, some points and condenser. So just waiting on those and we'll be back at it. Alright guys, got my soldering iron heating up, got my solder. My parts came in the mail today. I got 2 new condensers, 2 new sets of points, the exciter and pulser, new, and so we're going to replace these 2, condenser, points. That should at least eliminate those as possible problems. And I got this fixed, just have to go install it, my choke lever. So these are the 2 condensers that came out of it. As you can see, the mounting brackets are different. I don't really think that is a problem. I know the 2 condensers I put in are like this one here, so I don't know if this one was changed or from factory if it came with 2 different depth mounts. But this is the one that had the lower mount. But they're at the same height. I don't know that really matters. I don't know if I like how this is routed, but it's too short to put underneath this point like I did on the red one. And I put a little bit of tape here. There was a broken wire there, and I don't know if it was grounding to the outside jacket on the condenser, but I don't even know if that's a problem, but taped it in case. Got these 2 new coils on. So we're gonna go install it, set our gaps. It's gotta be in place to set the gaps, so I'm gonna do that next. Spark that we're getting.
Sure.
Hone in on that spark. Can you get close to it?
Yeah, hold on.
Alright guys, I had a huge explosion. Sounded like a gunshot in here. So I swapped the spark plug wires, thinking maybe I got the coils mixed up, so we're gonna try it. So it was going. I think it's a matter of fuel, and remember, I've not rebuilt these carbs, so that very well could be it. I don't know if I spray this in there, if I'll get it enough. Ooh, there's an opening. So, hold on. Can't really get in there too well. So it's gonna run. I'm just not getting fuel. I'm not getting fuel through the fuel pump. So it's a fuel problem. At this point, I really didn't want to have to go through the carbs. I didn't really clean them that in depth. I did just a little bit of cleaning. And this has the external fuel pump, and I'm thinking that that's probably going to be the issue. I cleaned it, but I didn't change out anything. So super stoked that I got it going as far as turning over. I'm thinking that I gotta look in to see why, because this one has a far brighter spark than this one, but this still has enough to be firing. We just don't have fuel. We had fuel there. Probably from the fuel I sprayed in there, the starting fluid, but it's just, it was hanging out in here, didn't go into the carbs. Shoot. I'm not getting fuel. And I know I have fuel in here. I can see it in my line. So that's it for now. We did get it to fire.